Today we are going to discuss the Henderson coat of arms. But before we get started, we wanted to let you know that we offer genealogy research service at our website. Please visit us at coadb.com. First coat of arms to discuss is blazoned, purple indented sable and argent, 2 attires of a heart counterchanged on a chief gules, a crescent or between 2 ermine spots, crest, a wheel. This was the coat of arms of Henry Henderson of St. Lawrence, Scotland, born in the year 1628, a doctor of medicine who studied at the University of Leiden in the Netherlands, and was the eldest surviving son of Lawrence Henderson, a merchant and baillie of Edinburgh. Next we have gules, 3 piles, issuing from the sinister argent, on a chief of the last a crescent azure between 2 ermine spots, crest, a cubit arm proper, and the hand holding an estoile radiated and surmounted by a crescent azure. For the Henderson family of Fordell in County Fife, Scotland, the Henderson Baronetcy of Fordell was a title created in the Baronetage of Nova Scotia in 1664 for Sir John Henderson. He was the son of Sir John Henderson, who was the 5th Laird of Fordell and a distinguished soldier who fought on the side of the Royalists during the English Civil War. And the first Laird was James Henderson, who was son of Robert, who died in 1499. He's also born by the Hendersons of Stemster in Caithness, Scotland. Alexander Henderson, born 1820, a Justice of the Peace and Deputy Lieutenant, the son of David Henderson, Esquire, who was the son of Alexander, who was the son of David Henderson, born 1714. Another for Henderson of Chesters in County Haddington. Here we see a list of the Henderson Baronets of Fordell, all the way through the 6th Baronet, Robert, who died in 1833. And on the right, we see an oil painting of Sir John Henderson, the 5th Baronet, a lawyer and antiquary, as well as the family estate of Fordell. Another we have purple dancet or in sable on a chief argent, a crescent azure between 2 ermine spots, crest, a cubit arm proper, the hand holding an estoile or, and surmounted by a crescent azure. This was the coat of arms of the Honorable Hugh Mercer Henderson of Fordell in County Fife, likely a descendant of Colonel Douglas Mercer Henderson, born 1787, a British Army officer who fought at the Waterloo campaign. That's probably who's depicted in this painting, and not actually Hugh himself. And he was born Douglas Mercer. He inherited Fordell Castle and was the son of George Mercer and Jean, who was the eldest daughter of Sir Robert Henderson. Another gules, 3 piles issuing from the sinister or a chief engrailed ermine, crest, a cubit arm erect proper, holding the hand, a star of 8 points wavy, and signed with a crescent argent. For Hendersons of Randall's Park in County Surrey, England, John Henderson, son of Robert Henderson of Sedgwick Park, who was born in 1807, purchased the manor in 1857, and was the son of George Henderson of Bowness in Midlothian, Scotland, who was the son of John, who was the son of Richard, who ultimately descended from Patrick Henderson of Barrowstowness, who was born around the year 1600. And this coat of arms was also borne by George Henderson, Esquire of Haverswood in County Kent, England, who was born in 1845. Here we see Randall's Park. Argent 3 piles issuing from the sinister sable on a chief wavy azure and anchor between 2 crescents of the field. Crest, a lion rampant supporting in his forepaw a trident argent. This belonged to Thomas Henderson of Glasgow, a merchant alive in the year 1872. Purple indented or in sable 3 roundels in best counterchanged, crest, a dexter hand proper, holding a star of 6 points wavy or and signed with a crescent azure. For Alexander Henderson of Eildon Hall in Roxburgh, Scotland, alive in the year 1825, a clerk of the Cocket at Leith, an office that involves certifying documents in commerce. Here we see the hall that he lived in. Another for Henderson of Williamfield in Scotland. William Henderson, born 1827, developed a chemical process used in the chemical industry. There was also Arthur Henderson of Williamfield, who was alive in the year 1850. Azure 3 piles or in base a tower, triple-towered argent mason sable doors and windows gules on a chief ermine, a crescent of the first between two spur rowels of 6 points of the third. For Sir William Henderson, seen here, born 1826, a merchant and philanthropist who served as Deputy Lieutenant and Justice of the Peace for Aberdeen, as well as Lord Provost. Ermine, 3 piles, 2 in chief and 1 in base, gules each charged with a crescent argent on a chief of the second, 3 estoiles of the third, crest, a cubit arm, erect, vested azure, the hand proper, grasping a chain therefrom suspended, and escutcheon argent charged with 2 estoiles in chief and crescent and base gules. For Henderson of Roke Manor in Hampshire, England, there was Thomas Wingate Henderson, Esquire, of Roke Manor, and his wife Mary, the daughter of Robert Henderson. Mary married William Cleland and had son Major General John William Cleland Henderson. Here we see Roke Manor in the modern day. Or 3 piles issuing from the sinister vert on a chief ermine, 3 tortu, crest, a hand holding a tortu charged with the star argent. This belonged to Sir Alexander of Henderson Buscott Park in County Berkshire, who was born in 1850, who I believe is depicted here. He was created Baron Farringdon and was a member of Parliament, and was the son of George Henderson of Langholm in County Dumfries, Scotland, who was born in 1819. Here we see Buscott Park, the family estate in the modern day. Another for Archibald John Pitcairn Henderson, Esquire, born 1887, son of John Henderson, Esquire, born 1846, who was Justice of the Peace of Glasgow. Here we have or 3 piles issuing from the sinister gules on the chief of the last, a golden fleece between 2 fleur-de-lis of the field, crest, a cubit, arm proper holding a crescent argent. For James Henderson, born 1889, a barrister who served in World War I and resided at Oakley House, Windsor Park in Belfast, and was the son of Sir James Henderson. Gules, 3 piles, issuing from the sinister argent on a chief oar, in a sea undi azure, and on the second a Norse galley vert in full sail, armed proper flag gules, crest, a limpid, oars in action, sable sails furled proper flag gules. For Francis Henderson, born 1856, a Justice of the Peace for Dumbarton and Glasgow, and the 4th son of John Henderson of Glasgow, born 1823. One for Richard Henderson, born 1854, son of John Henderson of Glasgow. This one features a crest, a lion rampant argent arm, and lagoon gules supporting on his forepaws, a trident, palewise in argent, and in an escroll over the same, a motto. Parted per bend, indented sable and oar on a chief argent, a rose gules barbed and seated vert between 2 ermine spots. This was the coat of arms and crest of Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Anstruther Henderson, born 1859, son of Reverend William George Henderson, born 1819, who was the Dean of Carlisle. And lastly, per pale, dancet or in sable, on a chief argent, a crescent azure, crest, a demi-lion rampant sable, holding in the dexter paw a maple branch proper. This was the coat of arms and crest of Major John Atchison Henderson, who was born in 1863 and served in South Africa and in World War I, and was seated at Mamhead Grange. He was the son of Atchison Thompson, Esquire, of Drumlamp in County Derry, Ireland. And if you enjoyed this video, please visit us at coatb.com, where we offer genealogy research service, high-resolution digital JPEGs, and heraldic merchandise such as t-shirts, posters, mugs, and canvas prints. Like, share, and subscribe. Link in the description. Thank you very much.